So I recently had this really cool experience that has kind of changed me in certain subtle but really significant ways. And I mean, it may not seem sort of like synchronicity to someone else from the outside, but going through it, you could just see how each little portion of the journey, each step just fit into place at the end like a puzzle, and just taught me this really valuable lesson that I believe will I'll hold on to for the rest of my life. I mean, even before the sort of final piece went together, and the penny dropped on what had happened, I was the whole time sort of, because I was going through a bit of a hard time, and I was just looking to see kind of where the synchronicity was, or what the universe was trying to teach me. And then eventually, during most of it, I just didn't really know what was going on. It didn't really make sense. And then finally, the final piece sort of fit together, and then it just suddenly made sense, and it all just fit together, and I learned the really valuable lesson. So I've always, for my whole life, been a sort of pretty anxious around people, and to make up for that, I've done personal endeavors on my own. So things like from a very young age was music and stuff like that. Just stuff that I can do on my own, martial arts and um, you know things like that. And so yeah, for the last few months, I've been really focusing on a lot of that sort of stuff. Also, because I'm getting a bit older, and I'm starting to sort of put a lot more pressure on myself to build a future, I guess. So I've been, working on these sort of videos and doing a lot of stuff with investing and reading and writing, writing a lot of music, things like that, and just focusing on sort of things to do with me. And there's sort of around that, there's been certain problems with this house that I'm currently living in, having to fix those problems. And I got into the minimalism movement a bit, so deregistered my car and currently just sold it, so I didn't have a car. And then it got to a point, I was getting these weird bites at night, and I thought it was bed bugs, so I sort of moved out of my room, and I was sleeping in the lounge room. I threw out my mattress. Um, and there was just this point in time where everything just seemed sort of upside down, just sleeping in this mess on my lounge room. I don't really like mess, but I was just forced to sort of create a mess and sleep in the middle of it. And I was sort of barricaded out of my room for this war with whatever the insect was. And then that, along with the house, all this pressure from having to probably sell it, and financial pressure, and not having a car, so it was so hard to get around. I mean, it may not seem that bad to a lot of you, but it was just, all of it just sort of happened at once, and it was very, it was a bit of a difficult time, and I was just looking to see, what the reason for this was, or what the universe was trying to teach me. And then it was sort of at its peak at one point. Actually, I remember what happened the day before my birthday. I had this really intense dream, and it really affected me in a big way. It was just a dream where I was a lot younger, and then I sort of woke up, and it just affected me a lot. The idea of turning 35, which I did, I think, a week or two ago. And then on my actual birthday, all this stuff was all mixed up, and then I remember just not feeling that great, going for a walk, and there was this old lady. She just randomly came and asked me for directions. Very old. I think she said she was 81. We had this really great connection. We just sort of, she was kind of old and decrepit, and sometimes I have sometimes issues with talking to people like that, and it's a terrible thing, but it does affect me sometimes when they're really decrepit and I can't really relax. But this lady just so was so relaxed, and we had such a cool, energetic connection, and it was just such a beautiful experience. And it sort of triggered something inside, and I wasn't exactly sure what it was. But then I kept going about my day, and then later in the day again, I think it was after work, I went for this huge walk um, around, and there was this pretty young, she's probably about 18 or 19-year-old girl. I think she was Latin American. Came up to me with this massive smile, so loving and friendly, asking for directions, and so I helped her, and it was just a really positive and beautiful experience just to sort of meet someone like that. And then it just opened up something inside me. I had to walk home. It was a fair distance home, and I just the tears started flowing, and it just sort of broke something deep inside me, and it was just such a loving and beautiful experience. And then what was interesting is, um, then everything started to fix back up. The guy came, sprayed the house. Bug seems to be gone. I'm back sleeping in my room. Completely sold the car, getting used to that, and everything just seemed to sort of fall back into place. And so then I was thinking about it, and I sort of realized that the universe was trying to teach me something, which is I shouldn't focus on all that sort of random stuff so much. Just putting so much pressure on myself and stress, trying to create things to do with the future and money and create being creative and all that stuff. When the real important thing is human connection. I mean, what can be more important than just connecting to another human being? And for me, I just place so much more importance on all this other stuff. So the universe had to sort of mess that other stuff up to teach me this really valuable lesson that I'll never forget.